Well, hey there. Bet you didn't expect to see me here, as it's been almost 2 entire years since I've made some content. And I'm here to change that. My life has been a total mess, but it's stabilizing at the perfect time. The perfect time. I've never, it's hard to say never had more hype for Guild Wars 2, but I'm very hyped for Guild Wars 2 Future. Actually, scratch it. I've never been more hyped. There's a lot of reasons for that, and I'll be making videos expressing why I feel that way in the future. But let's make this one really quick. I'm going to try and get you set up to play Guild Wars 2 on controller in less than 10 minutes and give you a little look into what I've been doing for that 2 years casually while I didn't have time to make content. Let's roll the intro. So the way this setup will take you more than 10 minutes is maybe if you don't already have a Steam account, if you don't have one, go get it right now. Secondly, I have a second option because I ran into issues with my Steam configuration, and I'll get to that second option later. But if you do have Steam, this is the free option. My second option is a $10 software that you can purchase if this is really the way you want to go and Steam isn't an option for you, or it's glitched out, or there's some sort of issue. So regardless, you're going to need to get Guild Wars 2 into your Steam library. And this only takes a second. You'll go up to Games, bring the drop-down menu, and add a non-Steam game to my library. So on this list, when it pops up, for me, there is this option for Guild Wars 2 here, but I never take it. I actually browse and I go find it physically, because every time I've taken the one that it's given me, for whatever reason, it doesn't actually work. So I go to browse and then find the actual location for it, which for me is right here. Might be different for you if you installed it on a different drive, obviously. But from there, you're going to go into big picture mode. If you're not sure how to do that, once you've added the game to your library, big picture mode is up here in the corner. And this is what enables you to use a controller is a Steam interface, kind of similar to how an Xbox interface is for launching your games. So once you launch big picture mode, it's going to look like this. You're going to want to go up to your settings and make sure that your controller settings are compatible to whatever type of controller you have. I have Xbox checked because that's what I use, but maybe you use a PlayStation controller. From there, you may also want to disable the Steam overlay. I have Shift-Tab as an option for going back to your previous target. You can tab through your target. Shift-Tab allows me to go back to my last target. You either want to disable this shortcut and change it to something else, or just get rid of the Steam overlay entirely, which is what I do. I just check it off. From here, find your game in the library, and you're going to go to Manage Shortcut and Controller Configuration. From here, you can browse configs, which by the time this video is uploaded, I'm going to have 2 configurations for you, version 1 and version 2. They'll look just like this. You'll find them in the community section. They're currently in personal for me because I haven't shared them, but I have 2 different setups. Essentially, this is just going to change how your F skills work and how your interact and escape works. Because with escape, you can exit out of like any menu, which is, to me, via controller, kind of like a B button. From here, we can load up the game. So secondly, real quick before showing the game footage with the controller loaded up, you can also use Xpadder, which is what I ended up using, which is this program here. I eventually ran into some sort of error where the Steam big picture mode would no longer work for me unless I was hooked up to a natively 4K device, which my computer monitor is not, but I had moved it for playing on my smart TV. Really fun, sitting back and relaxing on the couch. For whatever reason, I could not find anything on the internet. I spent days trying to figure this out. But the only thing I can figure it out, I completely wiped my computer and started over to hopefully erase this issue because I was so used to playing with the Steam setup. And at that time, I didn't know that there was another option. Anyways, watch out for that. If it does start freaking out for you and freezing over and over and over again whenever you go into big picture, could be because you hooked up to a 4K display. Try that. If you do ever have that issue, you can go to Xpadder. But honestly, they're both just about as good. Currently, now that I'm using the Xpadder software, I am in love with it just because it's so much simpler to program. And for that reason, I like it. And I'll have different customized setups for different characters and whatnot. But overall, if you can use the Steam setup and it's not causing you any issues, go ahead and do that. Okay, once we're loaded in, you should be able to see my new avatar somewhere over here. Getting some upgrades, slowly trying to make this channel a more fun and professional experience. In the amount of time that I've been playing, you can see what I've done. I've got quite a few characters up to level 80, so I assure you that playing this way is completely viable. I just hit my rank 100, so I can get the cool looking PvP armor. Pretty hyped about that. Anyways, let's get in and show you. It may not seem like it, or you're still skeptical or don't want to believe that you can enjoy this game freely from your couch. And I honestly think the only reason you might ever be mad about not using mouse and keyboard is really just the fact that other people in this game are, and that the interface doesn't serve it very well. Like you can't just like use your D-pad to go to things in your inventory. You have to hover over it. But if everything is running according to plan, you should be able to see my inputs over here. I'm using the Xpadder input for this video because it's an easy overlay, so you can see exactly what I'm doing and how this is working.
It's me right.
Okay, so just a couple quick things to go over. Whether you're on the Xpadder setup or the Steam setup, the controls are going to be exactly the same. But what you do need to do before you start playing on controller is either copy my keybinds or make your own keybinds for these specific sections. But for the easiest experience, I believe, would be to switch to what I've already set up on the configurations. Okay, so first things first, controlling how quickly your mouse moves around with the right stick is not actually going to be this rotation speed right here. It's actually going to be your mouse settings within your, on your computer. Like you'll go into your system settings, change your mouse speed. That's the only unfortunate part to the Steam overlay, is I had to put mine on like speed 3 or 4, which is killer and annoying to actually use my mouse when I'm using my PC. So I got to switch back and forth. But with the Xpadder, there's a secondary option that ramps up how quickly the control is going based on your mouse speed, basically. It's an exponential thing. It is a little slider for it. So another way that Xpadder is more customizable. Aside from that, you're going to want to get rid of double tap to evade. This right here. You don't want that because having WSD with the joystick moving back and forth, when I first was setting this up, I was accidentally triggering my dodge all the time. So you need to get rid of that. And the hotkey should already be set. I'm pretty sure the default for dodge is V, but that's what I've set up to be your skill version of A. So when you're just normally jumping around, it's A, but if you hold down left trigger and A, that's dodge. And I did this because I play Elder Scrolls Online and I was already used to dodging that way. I'm really worried this is going to be a longer video than I expected. I'm not used to making YouTube videos anymore, so I got to start having a more planned way of bringing this information to you. I apologize. I'm going to work on it. This is my settings that I'm using now. I do really like auto-targeting. It makes it feel totally much more like an action combat. You actually got to be aiming at whatever you are, and then you don't have to press tab, which is pushing in your right stick every single time. You can just be aiming at it and use your skill. I still use tab all the time, but I really like auto-targeting. Sometimes I switch back and forth between this, and I turn it off because, for instance, in PvP, if you're fighting against a minion mancer or a mesmer, it can be really annoying to have a really important skill knock over a Mesmer clone or a pet of some sort. So it's all up to you what you want to do with the rest of this. The main thing is double tap to evade. So then from there, it's going to be important to get a couple of keybinds to the same ones that I have for the configuration. Like I said, dodge should already be V. If it's not, that's what it should be. So for about face, I put C. Call target is always Control T. This is more important if you're in PvP or I guess doing dungeon stuff with people who don't know what to do in the dungeon. But then for previous enemy, I have Shift Tab. You can change this or change the Steam overlay like I was saying. So then in the camera section, I have Look Behind as comma so that you can be running and looking at what's happening behind you. Since you don't have a super fast mouse that you can whip back and forth, this becomes even more important than it was previously, even though I still used it on mouse and keyboard. And then toggle action camera is J, and this is really the most important thing. You want to make sure your toggle action camera is J. This is what turns it into a controller format where you're aiming with a reticle, and the reticle can even give you some information as well. So the left trigger is basically what changes your weapon skills to your utility skills. The only real weird thing here, I think, is I made the heal skill the start button, essentially, because I couldn't think of any other way to do it. I was really trying to essentially get rid of this because this auto attack is your trigger. So you hold that down. So if we get rid of the trigger, and then we get rid of our heal skill, there's essentially 4 skills on each side to worry about. And that was the way I tried to look at it. If there was a controller figuration, I'm sure this would look different and it would be a lot easier to track in your head. But essentially, follow with me. If you aren't holding anything down, like you're just running around, not holding left trigger or bumper down, X is your 2, 3 is Y, and 4 would be B. 5 is your bumper button. So those are your 4 essential primary skill buttons, whether you're on the utility side and ultimate side, or if you're on the weapon side. 1 is your trigger, right trigger button. 6 is start. This was the best way I could do it. I thought it was weird at first, but eventually I actually really loved having my heal as start. It's always there. You always know where it's at. Boom, you press it as soon as you're in trouble. But when you hold down the bumper, start will turn into your inventory. And then select is your hero tab. Made sense to me. That's where it probably would be if it was on a console version. Then there is a menu mode when you swap from select. And this allows you to not have to press the bumper if you wanted to like interact with something here. So this makes just your normal X that. But more so, I did this because it moves slower when you're in menu mode. And this is only for the Xpadder. This doesn't apply if you're playing on Steam. But this allowed me to navigate the inventory easier when I'm in inventory mode as opposed to when I'm in combat mode, as you can see. So will this get annoying from time to time? Of course, yes, it will. Anyways, the reason I didn't put the F skills on the left trigger as well is oftentimes I would be trying to do skills like this, like my jump or any of my utility skills, And in order to do those, you got to be aiming them at people, and I would be holding down the left trigger button preemptively to get ready to do my skill super fast. Well, in order to aim while I was flicking the stick around, this would accidentally activate my F skills, essentially.
Might makes me right.
And that was no good in the middle of combat when you really don't want to be accidentally using your F skills. So I switched it to bumper. And that was my reasoning behind that. All right, with all that being said, I'm going to bring something up so we can focus on targeting it and focus on the combat itself. So hopefully it's made sense the way I've tried to explain it so far, is that when you're not holding any sort of activator down like left trigger or bumper, it's weapon skills, and when you are holding them down, we're talking about this side of the skill bar. When you're holding down the bumper button, you have access to all of your F skills. And that's that. So getting to combat, your reticule here actually has some pretty awesome information. So as you can see, when I'm this far away, the reticule is spread out. There's no circle around that dot there. This means that I'm out of range of the target. When I move in and get closer, you'll see that. See how it snaps in? The further away I get, it snaps out. Get closer, it snaps in. So this can be hard to tell, but from what I can gather from about 1,000 hours of gameplay, because there's no like specific guide on this, this right here means that one of my skills is in range of the medium kitty golem. It's up to you to understand what your highest range skill is and realize how far away that is from you. I'd say for me right now, this is probably this skill, which has a range of 600. Yeah, and this has a range of 450. So this is my longest range skill. It's telling me right now that this is the skill that I can hit when I get this close. So from there, I know that between me and him is around 600 of range. It says 600 I'm sure that's not meters. So the closer I get, I can use my other skills. So this is all to keep in mind while you're fighting. You can use escape to let go of your target. So if you're ever in PvP, you want to get rid of your target real quick, use some sort of skill, get the hell out of there so you're not accidentally targeting anymore. That's how you would do that. Pressing in the right stick is how you do tab. So if there were more enemies here, you can't target the rat. What is the rat doing in here? But yeah, that's about it. Playing on controller has gone far better than I expected it to, and it felt really natural once you get used to it. There's definitely going to be some growing pains. Also, knowing if you aren't using the Steam overlay, it's hard to tell if you're in menu or combat mode. In Xpadder, it's the same. So there's times where frustratingly you'll be certain you were in combat mode, but you're actually in menu mode. And there's always a chance that there's going to be some sort of glitch like I had with Steam. And then even in Xpadder, I already have a thing where sometimes, when I go to my map, which is left trigger and then select, this is the same on either setup, that brings up your map. But there's times that I do this really, really fast, and it will, for whatever reason, get me stuck into the held down left trigger mode. So no longer can I use my 2, 3, 4, 5 skill. I'm only able to use my utilities because it got locked into that. So I've realized that now, and then I just mash the left trigger and select really quickly to try and bring it back to that, essentially. So keep that in mind while you're doing this, that it's gonna be frustrating sometimes. There's going to be growing pains. But if you love this game, absolutely you should play this way because it's super, super easy to do most PvE content this way. Where you're really going to struggle at all is maybe in raids if you aren't already a good player and you aren't already used to the controller setup. But really where it only becomes a serious problem, I would say, is in PvP. But just to back that up, I really, really, really wanted to make plat, and I've really fiddled with the line quite a few times. I've actually been just right there, one game away, probably about 10 different times. Oh, I guess I'm just not good enough yet. But I'm still super proud of being gold 3 while playing on controller. I win a bunch of my 1v1s. I don't think that I am a detriment to my team in any way, and I've been playing this game for about 4,000 hours. I'm definitely not the best player in the game, but I am pretty good, and I'm able to make it to gold 3 in controller mode, so I know that other people can be able to enjoy this game as well. I've also definitely stomped many people who are playing on mouse and keyboard, but like I said, I have been playing this game since launch more casually. That's why I only have 4,000 hours. Only, that's a weird thing to say. I just know some people have way more. Anyways, if you have any additional comments, please leave them into the in the comment section below. I'm going to work on getting better at making videos and getting better at speech again. But I really, really, really am loving this game on controller, and I can assure you that you can enjoy yourself on controller as well, and you can play any bit of content in this game viably and almost as good as anyone else if you really give it a good try. With that being said, I'm getting ready to launch a guild called the Heathen Legion. I'm going to be playing this game a lot until the launch of End of Dragons. I really want to get legendaries all over my account. I'm getting really close to getting my heavy legendary armor. I've gotten a few legendary weapons. I'm trying to catch up on my vertical progression on the masteries, dog. Because I have not played much PvE, to be honest. I've been really getting a kick out of playing this in PvP. But if you are interested in joining the guild, please send, well, actually, I'm sorry. In my next video, I will figure out the email. I don't have it set up yet. But the guild is going to be called the Heathen Legion. I would love to see you there. I want to do as many things in the game as I can on controller only. If you are a new player, this is the perfect time to try and play on controller if that's a way that you enjoy playing games. And this guild will be great for you because we'll be doing a lot of old dead content that I don't have achievements for because I completely restarted on controller. So it'd be a great time to do old dungeons that are basically dead, catch up on achievements, and have a community that's all trying to do the same thing and or get better at playing at controller, doing guild events, and hopefully after a little while doing raids. I would love to see you. I would love to have you. And I'm going to be doing my best to promote the controller Guild Wars lifestyle all the way up until End of Dragons. As the game is launching on Steam, I think this will be huge, having a controller setup there. And even furthermore, at the end of the year, getting the Steam Deck. Oh my God. I cannot explain to you how excited I am to play Guild Wars on my Steam Deck while my girlfriend's watching whatever she wants to watch, while I can do whatever I want, and we can all still be sitting on the couch, and I can just be doing my meta events. Holy cow. You can basically do most of those with your eyes closed. Anyways, it's been great. If you have any questions about the controller setup, I know I've already been beating a dead horse, but please leave it in the comments below. I will do my best to answer them. I will be attentive in getting you the supplies that you need. That's a bad word because I'm not giving you any supplies other than the documents for Xpadder and the ability to download the Steam configuration. I hope to see you in game.